Hello kitties, it's so nice to be with you guys again. I have a bit of a surprise for you. You guys must know by now what a box set is, right? A box set of books. A whole box set of books. I like box sets of books. It's like everything is in there together from the same author about the same story. This is a very, very special one. It's called The World of Peter Rabbit. I absolutely love Peter Rabbit, and my best friend Melanie, she loved Peter Rabbit so much. And funny enough is I was given this box set to read to you guys from my other best friend. So it's very special to me, and I'm going to really enjoy reading them to you, and I hope you're going to enjoy reading them too. So when I open the box, it gives me all the books, but look here what it does. It gives me a number. Can you see my numbers? Oh, sorry about my nail fell off. Gives you the numbers, and it tells you, this is called the spine of the book. It tells you the name of the book and who wrote it, and each little one's got a picture. Can you see how cutesy that is? I like the spines of books. They're nice. Anyway, so we're going to read number 1 tonight. And number 1 is The Tale of Peter Rabbit. And I definitely need my granny glasses for this story. And I'm sitting real close to you guys today because the pictures that the lady wrote are so, she drew them herself. And they're so fine and so beautiful. And I wanted you guys to be able to see the beautiful pictures in the book. So I'm sitting real close up to you today. Real close. So The Tale of Peter Rabbit was first published in 1902. So this is another one that your granny's going to know all about. Your mummy and your granny and all those people. Look how beautiful her illustrations are. Illustrations is a fancy word for drawing, okay? The Tale of Peter Rabbit. There he is. By Beatrix Potter. That's the name of the author. Okay, let's get to the beginning. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank under the root of a very big fir tree. Now, my dears, said Mrs. Old Rabbit one morning. Can you see her? You may go into the fields or down the lane, but do not go into McGregor's garden. Look at Peter. Peter Rabbit had the blue jacket, by the way. Your father had an accident there, and he was put in a pie by Mrs. Gregor. That's terrible. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I'm going out. Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella, and she went through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden. And squeezed under the gate. First, he ate some lettuces and some French beans, and then he ate some radishes. And then, feeling a little bit sick, he went to look for some parsley. But around the end of a cucumber frame, who should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor, excuse me. Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting out young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling, "Stop, thief!" Peter was most dreadfully frightened, and he rushed all over the garden. He had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes amongst the cabbages. And the other shoe by the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and he went faster, so that I think he might have got all the way together if he had not, unfortunately, run into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jackets. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, and it was quite new. Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears, but his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows, who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Mr. McGregor came with a sieve, which he intended to pop upon the head of Peter, but Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him, and rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it didn't have so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden under a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. Presently, Peter sneezed. "Get you!" Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. And tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright, and he had not got the least idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp after sitting in that can. After a time, he began to wander about, going lippity-lippity, not very fast, and looking all around. He found a door in the wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. An old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the wood. Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had such a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head at him, and Peter began to cry. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he came more and more puzzled. Presently he came to a pond where Mr. McGregor had filled his watering cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish, and she sat very, very still. But now and then the tip of her tail twitched as if it was alive. Peter thought it was best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousin, little Benjamin Bunny. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scritch. Peter scuttered underneath the bushes. But presently, as nothing happened, he came out and he climbed on a wheelbarrow and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. His back was turned towards Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Can you see? There's Peter, there's Mr. McGregor, and there is the gate. Oh my gosh. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could go along a straight walk behind some blackcurrant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the wood outside the garden. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and the shoes for the scarecrows to frighten the blackbirds. Peter never stopped running or looking behind him until he got home to the big fir tree. This picture doesn't want to focus very well. Let's try that. There we go. He was so tired that he flopped down upon a nice soft sand on the floor of the rabbit hole and closed his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a fortnight. I am sorry to say that Peter was not well during the evening. His mother put him to bed and gave him some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter, 1 tablespoon to be taken at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. The end. That was beautiful. I really do like Beatrix Potter, and I'm looking forward to reading the next one to you.